Hello and welcome to this first video in a new channel looking at cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency news. I'm Grant Newlands and I'm joined by Adam Young.
Good evening.
And we're just going to have some general discussion and look at the market in general.
Sweet.
And if you'd like to be in with the chance of winning 1,000 Dogecoin worth 5 UK pounds, just subscribe to the channel by entering the glean.io competition link in the description.
So a new thing has crept onto the scene on cryptocurrency news websites, and that's Crypto Kitties. Now these appear to be nothing more really on the face of it than images of kitties, crypto kitties, cartoon cats, which are being traded online on the Crypto Kitties website for money. You know, they're going for thousands of dollars in some cases. I think the highest one that sold on the Crypto Kitty auction house was $112,000. And this is something which has been in the currency news a lot because it's the first kind of really faddy type thing that nobody really seems to get why these are worth the money, but they are being traded for real money online.
Yeah. I mean, as far as I understand it, a crypto kitty itself is sort of a token, and as each token holds a different value, the only application for it ever is as a game and as a collectible.
We
so I'm not
certainly see games online, digital games, making a fortune because there's a lot of people who pay money into Facebook games. I know somebody who put in £200 onto a Facebook game and I thought they were an idiot. So if it's a digital game, and it's also a coin though, like you say, it's its own form of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I mean, if you're put like $112,000 into this game, and then all of a sudden the infatuation with the game wears off, you can't sell that to anyone. No. And you've lost that money.
Yeah,
so
you'd imagine so.
Yeah, it's quite dangerous, but I believe you can breed the crypto kitties and create new ones.
Yeah, from what I saw online, you buy, say, one crypto kitty, and then you can buy another, and then breed the two to make one, which you can then sell on for more money. So theoretically, with two crypto kitties, if there's a market of people out there who want to buy them, you could just keep on making them. Yeah, and they've got their own incubation time, and then you can sell them on. And there's different designs which have a different attached value to them. But what I've seen the reference to online, a lot of people make, is things like Beanie Babies, and you mentioned Pokemon cards when we were talking about it before, because there is always a kind of game like this that people obsess over, especially in countries like South Korea or Japan, kind of places where Pokemon started and is still an absolute craze over there. And so is it the same as that really, where it's just a Pikachu card? I
suppose it'd have to work in a similar way to most other cryptocurrencies, in that over time it'd have to get more difficult or take longer to breed the cats to make it sustainable.
So instead of doing transactions, your time and effort is spent breeding crypto kitties in whatever way you do that, because it's such a strange concept that doesn't appear to actually do anything at all. All the other cryptocurrencies are attempting to do something. Like
I mean, this is purely gamification. And I mean, I think the draw of the game is, you know, through this breeding of the crypto kitties, you can make new ones and sort of generate. And
people want them for whatever reason, because neither you or I go out and buy Pokemon cards, but people do. And
well, it's not just that. Well, I suppose people were buying Pokemon cards, but for huge sums of money. But you could never, you know, rub two Pokemon cards together and get a third one.
That's a brilliant idea.
So, I mean, that's where it holds kind of some sustainability. I mean, that's always going to be attractive to people, but they're going to have to scale it in some way.
Yeah.
And so it might get to a point where it's kind of not worth it anymore because it's just taking too much time, and it's going to become more of a time investment. In the future, and there'll be a point where people aren't willing to do that anymore. So
I suppose
I won't be buying any.
No, I won't be buying any either. I suppose that the weird thing is that it's something which I don't understand, and if it does just appear to be a token with a value, which is being created by people just breeding more Crypto Kitties, which I suppose there must be a penalty for in some way. You must either have to use computing power or you have to pay in some way to do it.
That must be the sort of mining process. I don't know if you're processing.
It's maybe just an interesting way of packaging a cryptocurrency.
In the background of the software, you might be performing transactions over the network. I'm not actually sure of the fundamentals of crypto.
Nor am I.
I haven't really read much on it.
Everybody, whenever I'm reading about it, people are just relating the fact that it's a collectible game, and
that's how it's being marketed. To be honest, it's bringing some mainstream attention.
Though I could easily imagine the same sort of thing if whatever company owned Pokemon want to, make Pokecoins. Those would go like through the roof in countries like Japan, South Korea, etc. as well. And if you had to mine forever to get a Charizard, I'm sure that'd work. And they're using your computing power for something. But it's an interesting development.
It's good for cryptocurrency in that it's getting it in the mainstream media a bit more. I mean, Bitcoin's obviously there quite a lot, but this being Ethereum based, bringing Ethereum into.
However, people, once again, I will always be the skeptical one on this and say I would rather put my money in a company that's making shoes than Crypto Kitties.
The cats.
I would rather put my money in a company making shoes rather than Pokemon cards, even though Pokemon cards might be obscenely profitable.
Physical. But I think digital assets are going to become more valuable. I do believe in sort of the technology, and I do think that they will hold their value and prove to become more valuable over time.
Well, on to a point about value in the digital assets. We saw today Litecoin going through the roof. Its price has increased since the beginning of the year, I think 5,000%. I believe that was the figure I read.
It's not one I watch.
No, it went
closely.
But then the founder of Litecoin, who used to be a executive at Coinbase before he left there to go on to create Litecoin, which is based off of Bitcoin, sent out a tweet today because the price has increased 300% in just the last few days, and he said that it's overbought and we're going to be looking at a bear market for years, because in previous times when Litecoin has gone up quite significantly, it went to $48 and then crashed down to $4. And so he said in his tweet, to his credit, that you should only consider getting into Litecoin in the rally if you can be happy with a great drop in the value of your Litecoin. Like you say, there's a good rally in all the altcoins going back. I mean, if you had your money in 6 months ago, you couldn't lose, literally, could you? However, we're talking about it now. There's a lot of people talking about it now. So is it getting overbought?
I think a lot of people, it's a strange time in terms of awareness. I think people think they're getting in really early, and actually I think it's a lot more mainstream than people might think it is.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people who were involved in the market than there were 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, you've got a lot more people getting involved in Bitcoin that have never traded before on the traditional markets. And so it's not, I don't think it's as niche and as small as people anticipate.
Do you think we're heading for a correction? Because you have a portfolio which has made very good returns, but do you think we're heading for a correction in altcoin prices because they've been overbought?
No, I think altcoins, certain altcoins are where the potential value is. Myself, the lower value coins that haven't had the attention of the press.
Yeah.
They can still be bought for very cheap. A lot of them have real world applications. So that's where I'd prefer to put my money. But Bitcoin, as I've said, I was kind of skeptical with the huge rise in the price, but it doesn't seem to be stopping.
We're back up to, as of today, around 17,000 per Bitcoin, ranging from 16,000 at the beginning of the day to 17 at the end.
I mean, it's been on the futures market for about 36 hours, something like that.
Yes.
And it kind of rallied in the run up and consolidated for a while, and then it started to climb. And a lot of people were thinking maybe because obviously going on the futures market allows for the bears to come in, really. Yeah. And that doesn't seem to have happened as of yet. People are still very positive on it and have been buying. So
there was a decline in the price down to about 14,000, down from a high of 18,000.
I watch them so often that I didn't really perceive that as a big move.
No, I know what you mean.
The markets kind of move, in those kind of numbers quite a lot.
Because there was a lot of people talking about the futures launch. There was a huge amount of people who maybe bought into that hype that the futures was going to introduce it to a lot of banking money. But then reading a bit more about the futures launch, the people who deal in those sorts of contracts are more conservative than the speculators who are on the trading exchanges where the price movements have been coming from most recently. The people who are betting on Bitcoin's price in the Korean markets, in the Korean exchanges, are way more speculative than the average, say, London or a New York bank which is dealing with investments in futures contracts. So the people who thought there was going to be a huge amount of money entering into the cryptocurrency markets, Bitcoin, from the futures launch, they maybe haven't had their ambitions realized. Maybe that was the cause of the mini sell-off. But there's a lot of people who buy into the hype, this is a common phrase where people buy the hype and sell the news in relation to these cryptocurrencies. Yeah. Because there's a lot of ambition behind them. But then when the news comes in, it doesn't give the same kind of hype it doesn't give the same euphoria as the hype does. So people sell on the news.
Yeah, you get a lot of people sort of taking profits, I guess. And I mean, that's always going to happen. That happens in every market. Once you climb to a certain point, it's people start taking the profits.
They do, and that can create a snowball effect.
And I mean, especially when you've got a lot of smaller investors who might not want to keep it in there for the long haul.
The scalpers,
those kind of moves. Yeah.
The traders love it though, because if you can they can't force the price around, but if the market as a whole is just almost pumping and dumping in a way, there's a lot of people getting very rich off the trading. But if everybody is, or the majority, are following the same sentiment, and then you've got obsessive buying coming in from other people who think it's just going to go higher, then that can create an overbought market. Personally, I'm always waiting for a correction, and when there is a correction, it goes even higher the next time. So I might be totally wrong in even thinking it's going to go a bubble. So I am of the opinion slightly that we are in a Bitcoin bubble, almost certainly. And it's kind of like the share market at the moment. The indexes are all going up around the world. 25% increase in the American Dow Jones since the start of the year, and a 25% increase every year in the stock indexes isn't sustainable. And 800% over a matter of a few weeks increase in the price of Bitcoin isn't sustainable either. No. I think there's a lot of people who just like the idea. There's a brand name that they've heard a lot about, and so they're buying it.
Yeah, of course. It's the biggest one. It's the one everyone knows. I think in terms of trading, I'm very unsure about Bitcoin. Pretty convinced on some altcoins. So with Bitcoin, for me, it'd be a case of sort of buying in the dips and setting, reasonable limits and looking at the short term.
That's that's exactly what I would do, because when I do trading online, it's for the Forex market, and it's mainly because of, say, with Bitcoin, it's got a £1 minimum bet size. In Britain, we can do spread bets where you can just take a bet out on a long or short position. And so on one of the spread betting websites where I saw you could bet on Bitcoin, it was to the dollar and on the price. And when it's ranging between 17,000 and 16,000 in a matter of hours, and you have to do a minimum £1 bet per dollar price change, that's ridiculous.
Of course. You've got to keep your margins healthy and
I mean, if I can lose $1,000 on price changes in an hour, that's not something which I'm prepared to get
I wouldn't
involved
put any money into Bitcoin right now that I wasn't prepared to just lose.
Yeah, which for me,
I don't think it'd ever totally disappear, but
no,
you could lose a hefty amount, possibly,
especially at the end of a rally.
You could also gain. If I was going to trade it, it'd be kind of day trading, but that's not what.
One guy I saw on forums, and I was watching the forums of the live stream online, and on a YouTube live stream, this guy was writing in the comments, and we were at the end of the rally. Up until this recent little $5,000 correction or so, and this guy wrote he just bought at 19,000, and it hasn't gone up but past 19,000 since for a couple of days now, and it was down to its lowest of 14,000 or thereabouts only yesterday.
That's actually quite similar to the position that I'm in with Stellar at the moment, because during that Bitcoin rally, a lot of the altcoins went up in value as well, including Stellar, and I was trying to do a bit of day trading, and I bought in quite high, and we've not got back there.
It happens to everybody. Doing Forex trading, I particularly use the USD JPY, US dollars to yen, and I go in there. You've got all your indicators, and you think you're at the end of a rally, and then you'll put in a position. It just keeps going higher.
The thing with Stellar is though that I'm quite happy to hold it. That's one coin that I will be keeping long term. That's more of a long term investment. Really, I'm trying to trade it against Bitcoin just to accumulate more Stellar.
Thanks for watching, and join us next time for more news and discussion on cryptocurrencies.